And we are live.
Alaikum. Hi guys, hope you're well. My name's Isma and I'm joined today with the Bassam on our Mindset Matters live show. We are talking today about the power of focus and how the importance of focus helps us and what we can do to focus, and a little bit around children and focus too. So if you want to start, the Bassam, if we can talk about kind of what is focus to us as coaches firstly, and then how we saw it before.
Right, as coaches, focus has become very much a different thing. It's what you pay attention to, what you talk about, what you put your attention into, situations that you're experiencing, where you put your emotions. That's, I think, where it is as a coach.
Yeah.
Have you got anything to add to that?
And I think knowing what you need to focus on and what you don't have to focus on. I think differentiating the two, for me, more so, I think has become really important, because we can focus on anything. And I think when we focus on the positive, we find, especially now as coaches, and even having a coach and through our own journey, I think we find even the blessings and the positives in a not so positive outwardly situation.
Yeah. And you also become very conscious of what you're focusing on.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And really how much focus it really needs, I think, has become a big one for me. And to really let go, know what to let go of. I think whereas before even I came into coaching and before I really worked on myself, I think focus was everywhere. Mm-hmm. And on everyone else and everything else. And I think through the journey, I think I've learned that actually you only really control your own focus.
Yeah, your own thoughts, right?
Yeah, your own thoughts. And I think the focus for me before was literally on anyone and everyone and what they were doing and what they thought and what they would say, but very much less on myself. And I think for me, that's been a major shift on what focus is for me as a person today.
I mean, I also I didn't actually realize where I was putting my energy and focus. Like I can talk about that now. But honestly speaking, at that time, before I started coaching, I probably wasn't even aware that I was focused so much on these things. All I knew was these things were controlling me and getting me down. And I felt like I had no control over them. And obviously that changes when your perception changes, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I think I had a client recently who spent a lot of time focusing on what the social media world was doing. And I think this is quite a very important example and a very common example, I think, of she didn't realize that in a day her focus, and she would literally just scroll. She wasn't particularly doing anything. She doesn't have an online business, or she works, but she goes in the time she's had off, she's literally online 9 to 10 hours a day.
Oh wow.
Without even realizing. Yeah. And she was like, when we first had our session, she was like, I don't know where my time goes. I don't get time to do anything. But actually when I got her to keep a diary of her day, she was like, I spent 8 hours or 9 hours on social media. So her focus was constantly comparing. And I think it became so deep for her. Yeah, it became really conscious, where it wasn't possible for her to look at herself. Wow. It was all very much focus on everything else. Yeah. And focus on how people were dressed, and she'd be like, oh, I want to be like that. And she'd give all these Insta names and all these Facebook names, and like she wants to be like them. But her life was very different. And she was like, but I don't know where to find the time to do these things. Like literally when I sent her a task, she was like, when do I do that? And then we broke it down and we did a plan of her day and it kept a diary of her day. And literally she was like shocked that she actually had all this time spare.
Yeah. I'm finding that with a lot of clients at the moment, actually, like the social media, especially with the younger clients, I think. Not as much with the mums, but I think there's a lot of comparison with mums. But with the younger clients, I just feel like the first thing is such a habit for them to just look at their social media, and that's immediately where their focus goes first thing.
Yeah. Especially at the beginning and the end of the day.
Yeah.
I think because that sets you up, doesn't it? And I think through coaching, we've learned that actually what you focus on first thing and last thing is what impacts your whole focus.
100%.
And I think what I want to talk about is how did you make that shift? So how did you go from being that not so focused on everything else around you to what you are today and in progress?
You know, interestingly, it started off like I had a really strange experience when I was actually having coaching. Do you remember the purse incident, the hilarious purse incident? So I'll just relate that story for everybody who doesn't know, who's not heard it before. But I was going through like a huge money mindset shift at that time. And speaking to my coach at that time, she said, oh, maybe, you should change your purse every year and make sure there's space for notes and clean it out. And I started doing all of this stuff really consciously. And there's definitely been some intense like work done in session, because that was a huge shift. That whole weekend was a huge shift internally. But I remember I'd been looking for a purse for a couple of weeks because she'd been saying this. I had my eye on a nice one, like a designer, like not expensive, but designer type one. And I was like, oh, do you know what? I will replace my purse this year. And I've been looking at it for weeks, waiting for it to go on sale, see if there's a discount code that comes up.
This was about a year ago.
I think, yeah, just over a year ago. I'll see if I can find the video and I'll tag that as well.
Interesting,
because I actually did a live video on this. And what was really interesting is we went into London that weekend with me and husband and the kids, and my purse actually got stolen on the train. Okay, really like common thing, got stolen on the Piccadilly line, really normal apparently, unbeknownst to me. And it was really interesting because I'd shifted from going like old me would have had a meltdown, panic. These days we've got our phones and we can just literally stop our cards, block our cards in 10 seconds. Okay, nobody's going to use it. I had £50 cash, I think, which is a bit gutting, but again, not hugely, nobody's life was lost. I was more concerned with the fact that I thought I had Yusha's first passport baby pic in there, and I was a bit gutted, but I had a picture of the picture, so I wasn't bothered about that either.
I
was actually really grateful I didn't lose my phone in the end, and my purse did go. Because God knows what would have happened. But a couple of days later, I've just gone live with my coaching business, which had taken me forever anyway, taken me 3-4 months because I was very nervous. I experienced imposter syndrome. So having just gone live a few weeks earlier, I got a phone call the Tuesday after, and by this time I've ordered a new purse, ordered a new license. Just got, I was just really grateful. I was really, really grateful that none of us were hurt, because it was a nice day out and we continued to have a nice day out. But what was really interesting on the Tuesday after is somebody rang me and said that they'd found my purse in the gardens of some flats that were near Harvey Nichols in the city. And I was like, oh, well, how did you find me? And they said, oh, you've got your driver's license in, and just popped your name into Facebook. Everybody's on Facebook these days. And I was absolutely like, what? Like, and I was like, oh, is everything there? Or is anything missing? He goes, well, obviously the money's gone. He goes, you're not expecting the money to be there. And I was like, no. It's like everything else looks like it's intact. What else was in there? And I was explaining to him. He goes, yeah, I've had a look through. Everything else is in there. And I was absolutely shocked.
What's the chances of that in London?
Yeah, I know. And I'd completely let go of the fact the purse had gone.
Yeah.
I'd also let go of the fact that it was going to let it ruin my day, because that had happened plenty of times before. I'd let plenty of things ruin my day. So I think that was a huge shift for me, to make me realise that actually changing your focus can completely change your life.
Yeah, it can. And I think the key in this is, had you not have done the work on yourself, and had you not have probably had that particular session, to have worked on this area of your life, how would it have been different?
You know what's interesting? This is the second time that my purse has been stolen in London. So once
Okay, so you've
before,
got an experience of before.
to compare to, I cried my eyes out. I was so upset. I was absolutely mortified, and I was upset for days, and I was, woe is me. It was really bad the first time, and it was just in Westfield. I think somebody, Yusha was little, so I had the baby bag, and obviously wasn't looking after it very well. Somebody actually took it from my baby bag, so they were actually that close to me. It was during Christmas. And I was completely different. I didn't come out from my room for about a week. I was so upset, and I was so attached to this thing that had been taken from me. I felt really violated. Same violation took place second time round. Didn't feel that way at all. I was just like, and I actually went away thinking somebody needed that money more than I did.
Yeah, so your focus had completely shifted as to what was going on.
Yeah, but that was a lot of work in coaching.
I was just gonna say, I think focus in my situation, I think it always used to come back to me feeling sorry for myself.
Yeah.
And me thinking, why me? Why did this happen to me?
Yeah.
Is this what Allah wants? Yeah. And I think it was very deeply embedded, that thought. That thought was like, okay, yeah, if this is what I'm meant to have, or this is what I'm meant to go through, or this is, because obviously I had like my health issues and the vertigo and the fibro, and alhamdulillah, that's all gone. But at the time, I was, and you probably remember as well, like when I first started getting my vertigo, it was like, why me? But my focus was so much on the why me and the poor me, and oh my God, why is this happening to me? What did I do? That it just got worse. And it literally got to the point that I couldn't get out of bed. I couldn't lift my head. And I could literally, looking back now, daily, I could feel it getting, especially my fibro. Like, I don't know if you remember, I used to like walk up the stairs, but my focus on that was like, oh my God, I'm not going to get up the stairs. Oh my God, I've got to go upstairs to do this. And I was getting everybody else to do things for me. Because my focus was, oh, nobody understands. And I could literally, now looking back, I could see it getting worse. But getting rid of those negative emotions, I think really has helped me to focus on what I do want and not what is going on negatively.
Yeah. And I think that's the key message, like what you focus on grows, whether that's negative or positive.
So it really is, when you've worked on yourself, it really does become a choice of which one you decide. Like, for example, with children, if you focus on like, okay, my child's autistic, you're never going to come out of the how to help them or how to support them. That's not going to be fully done because your focus is on the negatives of what they have. But actually, when you look at it from a child's point of view, one, they don't really know any different.
And they don't feel limited, right?
They're so clever as children. They're so wise in so many different ways that you will skip that focus. You will avoid that, what they are good at. Like, for example, when Naseba had allergies, and oh my goodness, I still remember the day when he gave me the list of foods she was allergic to. I think it was over 50 foods, easily. It was 3 pages long. And I literally looked at it and I thought, what can I give her? Right. And that's all I would focus on. But actually, walking into Tesco's, they've got aisles and aisles of
very blessed
dairy-free foods that she didn't actually even, yes, it was a little bit more expensive. Yes, we used to do like an extra shop for her, but she didn't actually miss out on what I spent weeks worrying about.
Yeah.
And I think that is the key. Even when it comes to your children, focus on what they are good at. Focus on what they are doing good. And that problem will automatically reduce. Does that make sense?
Yeah, 100%.
And I think it's really key that, I think for me, a lot of what came up when I wasn't focusing and when I was on the negative side was the childhood stuff, like my own childhood and my upbringing and things that I thought were perfectly amazing and they weren't. And I think that can block your focus a lot.
100%. And do you not think that, like, obviously some people have the mindset of like, it's my childhood, it's done now, there's nothing that can be done about it now. You must come
But it
across
still
that
needs to be
quite a
dealt
lot.
with.
Yeah, but then it
Because
takes some work, obviously, to
it's a
get there
coping
as well,
mechanism,
doesn't
isn't
it?
it?
Yeah.
When I first had my session with like our coach, and I was like, when she asked me about my childhood, I was like, my childhood was amazing.
Yeah, same.
And literally, she was like, okay. And obviously, as coaches, you can kind of see where the pattern is. And now looking back, I could see that she could see, but I was in complete denial. And I think that really, like bringing it back to my focus, that really impacted how I focused on things, because my focus was done through the people that I was surrounded by. Their beliefs became my beliefs.
Yeah.
And when I was focusing on what I wanted, like a couple of my tasks were to focus on what I want and to write it, and it didn't do anything for me because I didn't want it to do anything for me. I was so stuck in this is my life that I wasn't ready for it to open up.
Yeah. And I think that's always the first few words that we hear from a client, isn't it? Is, I feel really stuck.
Yeah.
And I definitely
so
feel like,
though. So
yeah,
relatable.
That's the thing. It's what I always say. It's like, as soon as you said that, I know that I can help you, because that's where I was. I felt
it's
stuck.
so relatable. Yeah, especially with even with children. Like a lot of the time, in order to get them to focus, you have to be focused on what you want. And if you want things that are just for your benefit, the child is going to lose that focus. And I think we had a question on how to help your children focus and around energy. I think you were talking about the energy one. So what did you have for that?
Around energy flow. Like, let's talk about, I think I did a live video about this earlier. So energy flow is really, really important to consider when you're thinking about your emotions and when it comes to where your focus is. Because what happens with energy, everything is energy. Okay, so if you put your mind onto negatively focusing on, let's say for example, money. Okay, and we'll probably do a whole nother video on money mindset. But like, if you're constantly focusing on the bills going out or how little money, if you're focused on lack, you only get more lack. And I know that sounds like such a cliche. When people used to say that to me, I used to think that
I used to get annoyed.
Yeah, same. And I used to think this is so much crap.
Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah. And I used to think, wow, but that, I think this is the weekend that I had that shift with the person. I started talking to you about how I'm going to do things differently. And it was the energy that I put into that. I suddenly started to put that energy into being really grateful. So every time I had a bill or a ticket, because believe me, I accumulated a lot of tickets when I was in a state of lack.
Driving, speeding tickets,
parking tickets.
I used to get speeding tickets.
Yeah. So like, have you had a speeding ticket in the last 2 years?
No,
me neither. Not had a parking ticket for the last 2 years.
I think I don't know how I didn't.
I don't think that's
license,
coincidence. Yeah, I don't think that's a coincidence. But it's all about focusing your energy in a way, because your thoughts become things. And people, like, even when I heard this for the first time, I was like, yeah, that's a bit woo-woo. It's a bit out there. It's not really for me.
It's a bit, It's a bit clairvoyant-y. I'm not really into that. And
it's a
but
bit
it's
out
not.
there.
It's your energy. It's with everything. If like, for example, I say to my clients, if you spend 10 minutes on your child with their homework and you're fully focused, that 10 minutes is more beneficial than spending 2 hours with them.
Absolutely.
Like, I was talking to a client today, and she's going through GCSE revision, and I was like, do 30 minutes. And she's like, but 30 minutes isn't enough. And I was like, no, if you focus for that full 30 minutes and break it down through, not just do 30 minutes and that's it, but break it down, that 30 minutes is going to give you more than a full day's worth of revision, because your focus is on that revision only. I was like, turn off your distractions.
Do you remember lockdown education? And I was like, I have to sit here for between 9 and 3 and I don't have that time. And you're like, well, you're going to sit there for 9 till 3 for doing what? You're like, spend
You were
30
planning
minutes.
the week. You were planning the week as if with lunches and what am I going to do at 9? What am I going to do at 9:30? And because your focus was, I've got to become the teacher.
Yeah, that was my focus.
But you're not a teacher.
No, so, not even close, mate.
Yeah, so really, I think as women as well, we find that a lot of women live with in-laws. A lot of women live with extended families. And the thing with that is, and I'm not denying that, having been through it and yourself having been through that journey too, I'm not denying that they're not an issue. But if you're going to focus constantly on how bad they are, how wrong they are, how, oh my God, they looked at me like this, oh my God, they expect this from me, they probably don't even expect it. Yet it is such a focus for you, because you actually expect that from yourself, that all you're focused on is even their negatives. They have positives too, but you don't see them.
And why do we do that?
What did you say?
It's like, why do we do that? It's our primal instinct, isn't it, to keep ourselves safe? And that's what it is. And for some reason, we feel like we're in danger around these people.
And we are people, as people, we are from those who avoid looking within. And the focus, when you focus on yourself, you still live with your in-laws.
This surprises so many of my clients when I speak to people and like my situation. People actually thought I'd moved out, and that's why this big sudden new change had come about. Still exactly where I was.
With them.
Nothing's changed. I'm exactly where I was, living with the exact same people.
But what has massively changed, and knowing your journey, is your focus.
Absolutely. Same with you.
Massive. Oh my goodness, like massive. They're the same. Everybody's the same around me. And that expectation on me was of them to change. Why don't they change? Why don't they understand me? But actually, I didn't even understand myself.
And I think
that is what we're scared of, of really looking within ourselves. But the impact it has on yourself, on your children, especially with your children, like, if you're not focused on where you want to be, then whose example are your children following? Where do they even learn about what to focus on?
So I just want to share what something, because there's something really important that you shared with me at the beginning of lockdown, because I had a huge panic, didn't I, over routine. And this is if anybody that knows me, this is the only panic that I go through quite regularly. So my routine, my schedule, and what did I say to you? Whose schedule was the problem? The kids. The kids. Oh, I don't know how I'm going to deal with like the kids' schedule. The kids are not in a routine. It was actually me that wasn't in a routine or a schedule, which is why I was becoming so overwhelmed.
And you saw those. Do you remember? I don't know if you remember when you were at your mum's house and you rang and said Yusha's going through this and this and this. And I was like, okay, so what are you doing? And you're like, nothing. And I was like, so what is he doing? And you were like, nothing. And I'm like, well, there's the problem. There's the problem. But
it's hard to see for yourself.
But it's hard. It is. And we've all been there, but the thing is, and I always say this to people, that if you can't begin it with yourself, then begin it initially with your children and bring that to yourself, because sometimes it's easier to take that step for somebody else. Do it for a day or two and then bring it to yourself. Because
that's really good advice.
Your children will only learn what you teach them. They won't learn what so-and-so said. And that to them is insignificant before you. So really, and I think the biggest thing is let go of what you can't control. What is not in your, and this, when I was told this, I literally nearly cried, because I was like, you saying that to me, I said this to I thought this about my coach after. I was like, her saying that to me means she doesn't understand my situation.
Yeah, you used to say that a lot, actually, didn't
A
you?
lot. Yeah, a lot. Like, they don't,
I feel like she just
doesn't
doesn't
get it.
understand me. Yeah.
She doesn't get it. Yeah. But actually, she probably got me more than anybody else.
I even got you. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And because the reality of it is sometimes we don't see it within ourselves. But actually, if you become aware of what you're focusing on firstly,
Yeah.
and then how much energy, like somebody messaged me today and said, I feel really sad, but it's because of a death that had happened.
Yeah.
But if you don't deal with the grieving, then the sadness is gonna be within you. But you have to be okay with the grieving first, going through the cycle of grief.
Absolutely.
And going through each stage.
Yeah.
But being okay with going through each stage, and then letting go of what you can't control, taking what you can from it, and then actually implementing the happiness in your life. But it's a process, and to let go, you need to know what you're focusing on.
100%.
And
See,
I
a lot
think
of people, yeah, that question was asked. I've had timeline therapy, because some people have had timeline therapy with some of our clients, or some of our prospective clients, and they said, I don't feel like it worked for me because I still feel sad.
Yeah.
So that probably answers that question really well.
Yeah, because I think in every session we've had with our coach, it's always about the work's been done, now go and implement it.
Yeah.
And that's what has to be done every day in your life.
Yeah.
And it's and I put a post up about this the other day, that you either choose to carry on with the difficulty that you're in, or you choose the process of, and it's not easy. Coaching isn't comfortable. No. It's not comfortable at all, but the end result is better for you, for your family, for your children, than staying on where you are.
Absolutely.
Because your children are going to go through that change too.
100%.
And I think the energy, like with my fibro, what if you think back to that time, what was I always focused on? Not myself.
No, gosh,
I
everyone
wouldn't
but
even,
yourself.
I very rarely even talked about myself. Like, even with yourself, you know, because it was constantly just on my mind. Nobody understands. That was my
and just for the people that don't know us that well, we've been speaking to each other pretty much every day or every other day for the last at least 8 years since Usha was born.
We know each other as well through family.
Yeah, but I had no idea what was going on in Isma's life at all.
Yeah, because I was constantly, I was living in my head. It was constantly, why me? Oh my God, why is this happening? It was constant, and it made me ill. And I truly believe that is all the build-up of all of that focus is what affected my health. And it was
they
bad.
say that's what happens, right? So the emotions affects the energy in your body, and it causes blockages, and that's what the problem is. That's how it manifests.
And that's where disease, the word disease comes from, is dis-ease.
Yeah. 100%.
So any illness that's in your body, it stems a lot of the time, I'm not a doctor, so I don't know about the medical side of it, but from my own experience, I truly believe that through my emotions is what affected all of my health.
Yeah.
And it debilitated me because I let it live within inside me in complete denial of anything going on, and I'll be able to fix it, and everything's I have to do it, and there's certain choices that I've made that I have to live with. That's all I went on in my head. And then seeing everybody else feeling like I was in this stuck hole. And I used to say this to you all the time, like about a year ago, like, everybody's getting on with it.
Yeah.
Because my focus wasn't on their journey. It was on the end result.
You were comparing your day current 0 with their day 51 or day 151.
100%.
You were not comparing your day 0 with their day 0, because they've had a day 0 as well. Everybody has.
But no, my focus was how do I get there?
Why am I not getting there fast enough?
Why am I not there yesterday?
Yeah.
Why is that so-and-so's child like this? Why is so-and-so's place like this? Why can't I have that? What have I done wrong? Like, literally, that was my dialogue. I feel rubbish. I feel sad. I feel angry. And another thing is, when you're telling yourself these things, they're living inside you.
Yeah.
Literally.
It's funny because I shared that post to say we're the only creatures that relive, like punish ourselves for our mistakes again and again by reliving, by literally reliving that. That
because
emotion,
our
that
focus
state
isn't on what is possible. And especially as Muslims, and like I shared a quote today with a friend, and I was like, I shared this quote 10 years ago, and it said something along the lines of, you have to believe that it's happened and possible before you actually ask for it. You have to have that belief that you are worthy. And I think for a lot of women, it's that focus. I'm not worthy. This is my life. I've got kids now. What can I do? Oh, I'm 40 now. I'm 50 now. I can't do
late.
it. What's the point?
Yeah. There's a lot of
Do we have any questions on the
chat? Let's just have
on the chat.
No questions. A few comments. Assalamu alaikum sisters, looking amazing as always. During lockdown, a lot of my patients have turned to social media more. They felt part of a group or community, integrated and connected to society. Yeah, I mean, it has its benefits. Not also people feel lonely,
but it's about focusing on where you want that energy to go, and really what true benefit it is bringing you, and how long you're spending on it.
Yeah, and I mean, having
lockdown has made it a lot more prominent that we are on it a lot more, because obviously of the situation that we're in. But again, where's the focus while you're on it? Is your intention to gain benefit, or is it to, like I was, compare my world to everybody else?
It's what you take from it. I mean, for me,
what you take.
You know, when I had Yusha and I had like all these, you know, first time mum problems, and I joined loads of Facebook groups, and it was really useful because it just made me feel like I'm not alone.
It has got its benefits massively. We're doing
talking
this
about,
you know what I mean? It's impacting a lot of people, alhamdulillah, but it's about where you put that focus.
The hardest part is letting go. How can we move on from sadness? It's really taking action, isn't it? Action steps to
taking action, and knowing that you need that support and to reach out. And I think that for me was the thing. How do I do it? Just tell me how. But it's not the process,
like you said.
It's not so much the how, it's the process of going through the journey and really rooting deep. It's almost like I always say to my clients that you have to water the seed, not stamp on it for the flower to grow. But all our lives we spend stamping. But water what needs watering, what focus needs watering, and then reap the fruits of it.
Yeah. If you're constantly also telling yourself that you shouldn't be sad,
it gets deeper.
Get that, it just strengthens it, isn't it? So what else have we got? Salam lady, salam everybody who's watching. Lots of people that have joined us, which is lovely. I guess that works with everything, including your business. If you break it down, you can be so productive in an hour. Yes,
100%. Oh my goodness, that's a really good
point.
Yeah, that is, because I think I'm probably more victim of this than anybody else. I spent hours and hours, and actually at the end of it really have achieved not far off from when I started. Because I was so distracted, and I was spending a long time. And I think one thing we've learned from our coach is to actually take a break, and to change your focus, and to even spend an hour on it, but a productive hour. Again, it goes back to that revision, the client that I have with revision. It goes back to what you do in that time, where your focus is, and again, where your energy is.
And you can prime yourself for that, can't
energy you? If your energy isn't there, we could spend here 3 hours talking, but actually the impact and the energy would be low. So 45 minutes or an hour or however long it is what you do in it and where your energy and focus is. That's a really good point, mashallah. That's really good. Thank you for
fantastic. This is the thing, because there's lots of and what we were talking about earlier is there's so many free resources from people's groups, so many people that are actually really good at what they're doing. Somebody who was working with one of the coaches that I was working with previously actually said you could provide all the free resources in the world, 80% of people will do nothing with them, absolutely nothing, because
their focus is different.
It's all about the focus and what they really want to achieve from something. When you're and this is why, unfortunately, there's only a certain percentage that get really successful. It's because they're really committed to the focus. It's a discipline. It takes practice, and it's really easy to fall off the bandwagon as well.
Of course. And I think the key is all of this that we're talking about is what we've experienced. And through our journey, even now, we're still working. We still have those coaches that coach. We still work on ourselves. We still work on the business. You know, I think for me, the shift was always like, what do I need to do? Now it's like, what can I do and what's in my control? It's like for the like the house thing with our situation of buying out. I think if that had fallen through a year ago,
oh God,
oh so my goodness, I couldn't imagine how I would be. But literally, I was like, yeah. And another thing is, it's okay to be sad. It's okay to be angry. It's okay to have all those emotions, warranted emotions, but also to know where you need to change them. Know that, okay, that's not in my control now. I need to, and I think coaching has helped me massively with that. But focus and energy really go hand in hand.
Yeah, definitely.
And to have the energy, like constantly saying to yourself, I don't have no energy today, and I feel really tired today, my child's annoying me today. Trust me, they're going to annoy you 1,000 times more. They're going to do things which they don't even normally do. How many times did we used to say, oh, he never does that? But actually, that's all you were focused on.
Sleeping problems that I had with Yusha. So I was so focused on it. Don't have them now.
Moving rooms for him. Oh my goodness, it was an everyday conversation that he needs to really.
He's now moved back in with his brother. So for anybody that doesn't know, because he's done.
And it's fine. It works perfectly, like it did before.
Works to me. He uses his room as an office.
Like it did before. But it was your focus. It was your, I need to do this to prove to the world that I am in control of myself. But actually, that wasn't the issue.
No.
And again, it was focus. That's all you talked about.
It's the only thing that was important to me at the time. But it wasn't really, if you think about it.
What was it distracting you from? Everything else.
Everything.
Sabotaging. Everything else. In-laws, they're a problem. They're going to become a bigger problem.
We hear that a lot, don't we?
My house is a mess. My house is a mess. It's gonna whatever you focus on. Whatever you focus on, you will expand that. And it is, like you said, it's a process. It doesn't happen in the first day. It's constant work. And everything is constant work. Feeling rubbish is constant work.
Absolutely.
It's just become our norm.
You're undoing years of work.
So difficult. It's decades of it. Why does in NLP the first thing we go to is childhood? The first thing we go to is early why? Because that is what embeds everything else. And if you're 35 years old, it is going to be easier to do that because it's been 30 years since you've been doing it. But what's the impact of it? Your children, your partner, your marriage, your in-laws, everything is affected negatively because your focus is negative. But it is a process, and it is all about getting rid of your negative emotions. And it is all about really being present with yourself. So I just want to leave people with some tips and on for your children especially. I think it begins with yourself. And I work with children now, and I've got clients now who do find it really difficult to focus, but when I speak to their parents, they have the same issues. And really, to be aware of your children's issues fully is to be aware of your own. And spend 5 minutes being focused initially with them. Literally spend 5 minutes just being present on all the good things in your life. And go deep. Go to the really small, grateful for your limbs, and feel it. Feel that gratitude. Like you feel that sadness, feel the happiness. And focus on what your children can do. Get help for what they can't. Get help for what you're struggling with. But create your focus around what they are able to do and what they have brought to your lives. And what are you doing it for their benefit, or are you doing it for your benefit? And Dr. Shefali talks about this a lot. I love watching Dr. Shefali.
She's really good.
She talks about this a lot, where think of your intentions of who you're doing something for, especially when it comes to your children. Who is the focus on? Is it for your benefit that you're achieving a 7 o'clock bedtime? Or are they okay with going to bed at 7:15 and having that focus 15 minutes with them?
That's amazing.
And really assess where your mind is going.
Yeah.
What are you focused on? Because that is what's increasing. If you've got problems with your husband and that's all you talk about, they're only gonna get bigger, love.
I got 3 tips as well. So one is taking time out for yourself in the morning before you do anything, just 5 or 10 minutes. Before you reach for your phone, just give yourself a moment just to focus on you, just you, for 5-10 minutes. I do recommend 20 minutes, but if you can do 5 or 10 minutes to start with, that would be fantastic. Second thing is visualization. Huge. I love it. I'm obsessed with it. Massive game changer. If you can visualize and get those emotions and those feelings of, for example, if you're going for a house, if you want a new car, visualize yourself in that car test driving it. If you're got debt, visualize yourself paying off that last £100, whatever, and bring up those emotions. So visualize and manifest. So manifestation and visualization
act as if it's already happened.
Yeah, like you said, it's living in that as if it's already occurred. And they're my 3 tips. Highly, it will just change everything for you.
It is about shifting the focus. And I think with anything, I think everything is not easy to start with. When you're driving a car, I remember this when I passed my test. I was like, so how do I move the gears and put my foot on the clutch at the same time? And put my hand on the steering wheel.
Driving.
And put my hand on the steering wheel and look around me to see what's going on. But actually now doing it, you don't even think. And that's where the focus shifts. So really, everything is difficult when you first start it. Everything is a process. Going to the gym, going to work. Why do you have a 3-month probation period? You know, all of these things take time to adapt, but you choose your easy.
Also, on that note, because it's something that we all obviously learned in NLP, when you have something like, I don't know if you can see that, it says Blue Tree. Oh, I can't see it.
Your logo's in the way.
It's not going to work, is it? So if I said to you, okay, I was going to do that. If I said to you, don't think of a blue tree.
All you're going to think about is the blue tree.
Right. So telling yourself not to think about something doesn't help either. It's really dealing, and this is why we obviously say go with coaching, go get help, because understanding, we told ourselves plenty, didn't we? Oh, we're just not going to think about this, or we're not going to talk about this, or I just can't think about this and this, so then it won't be at the top of my mind. It's not something I'm going to focus on. It's in your subconscious, so it needs to be dealt with at a subconscious level, and a lot of us don't have that understanding. I certainly didn't before I had coaching.
Same.
Didn't even know it existed to some extent. And my critical faculty, so the borderline between the conscious and unconscious, was massive. So even if I was telling myself these things, it wasn't getting anywhere. So this is why we advocate coaching, because we know we're a product of it. We know it works.
we're the deepest products.
Advertisements, yeah.
Yeah, no, definitely. And I think on that note, I think it's really important to not feel overwhelmed by all of this, but really focus on just one thing.
Yeah.
Pick one thing that you want to focus on positively and make a conscious decision to focus on that. Yeah. And then implement small stages. Like you said, don't do 20 minutes, do 5 minutes.
Yeah. I think that's the problem. A lot of people go to
we
the big
want
one,
the end result. Yeah, we want the end result. Naturally, we all do it. We want that end product, but really it's about where you want to be and how you're going to get there. And I think that's the key, and really the implications of the positive impact it could have. What if you could have that? What if that could change? And I think to really focus on believing. Yeah, I was just going to say, believing on what you are worthy of and what your children are worthy of. Inshallah. Thank you so much. I think we've covered everything. Alhamdulillah.
Thank you so much for watching, everybody.
Thank you. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.